Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Directors Garage Live Hump Day Happy Hour Hangout here at the home office. And wow, well, first of all, E3. We talked about these yesterday. Dropped that episode. I hope that was cool. It's got the blingy Norn cable on it too. Wow, we've had a lot going on around here the last couple of days. Let's make sure I got some color and stuff and everything's looking okay real quick. Sorry, just one of those things. I don't like to look bad for y'all. Hope I got all the lights turned on. One of those things we just try and do every now and then. Let's just take a look. Let's just take a look. Come on, go live. All right, maybe not. Here we go. Let's just check. Oh, yeah, we're looking good. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Little uplight wouldn't hurt. Okay. And maybe a little more. Maybe a little more. Maybe just give it a little juice. Okay. There we go. Okay. So what's going on? Let me tell you about some things. Well, first of all, I've already shot and laid out A-rolled the next episode. That's good news. We're ahead of the game. That means you should have, if all things, being equal, you should have a new Director's Garage episode next Tuesday if things go well. So I'm happy. I always like to get ahead of the game a little bit. Someday I'm actually going to get some episodes in the bank. And then I won't have to worry about making the upload cycle. But, I'm always just down to the wire on these things, it turns out. It's just funny that way. Anyway, we can talk about the E3 if you want. We've got a viewer system coming up today. We're going to do that. Very good. And if you have a viewer system, you can go ahead and send those to directorsgarage@gmail.com, directorsgarage@gmail.com. And somebody actually bought a pair of these based on my review, which puts me under a little bit of pressure because my review had better be good. They liked my recommendation. They liked my enthusiasm towards it, so they bought it. And I went over to Audio 46, which is my partner, and if you use the coupon code Directors Garage, all one word, you can save some up to 5. You're going to get 5% back on most of the items they carry if you put that coupon code in at checkout. And I was looking, and we are now up to, y'all have used that coupon code to buy $87,299 worth of shit. I think that's fabulous. That means you guys have saved thousands and thousands of dollars on these things. So that's really encouraging. I'm glad to see you guys are using that, and have at it. Have a good time over there. What else have I got going on? So we're going to look at a viewer system. One thing that dropped, you can now pre-order the ATH AWKG, which is that new closed back from... it's not here. That's not what I was talking about. Let's go back to the top here. It's that new closed back from Audio Technica, the one that has the $107,000 amp attached to it. If you want to buy that, let's get the laptop. I can maybe get that. Take a look at that. Oh, no, not that one. Here we go. This one. Here, take a look. So this is the headphone right here. And this is $4,200. I have no idea if it's any good or not, but it's $4,200. Zebra wood, very cool. Some kind of thing. I don't know. Wooden headphones. What's the driver in this? Did anybody talk about the driver? They talk about the wood all the time. Nobody's talked about the driver. Housing, driver units, circuitry delivered. They didn't say. Titanium flange, copper core wire. Boy, it really doesn't say. Am I missing something? Oh, some kind of planar magnetic circuitry. Okay, it looks like it's a planar. Deliver powerful audio with an expansive sound field. Okay, there's marketing for you. So anyway, these are now available for pre-order on your favorite website of choice. So that's good. So that's coming up. Also was listening to a lot of Talking Heads, because I did in the last episode the Talking Heads Remain in Light, and I talked about Adrian Belew. And it got me like started going, well, I want to revisit some of that Belew stuff from the 80s. And, you know, he went on to join King Crimson, and they put out an album called Discipline. And that was a landmark album, prog rock album. It was kind of a new wave fusion album in the early 80s, like 1981. And Robert Fripp, who was one of the co-founders of King Crimson back in the 60s, reformed the band, and it was a whole new lineup in the 80s. And it was prog rock, but it still retained a lot of that new wave sound that Belew brought in. So it's a very interesting record. It is still prog, and it's very avant-garde. And then it so happens I was on the web yesterday, and Rick Beato, I've talked about him on this show a few times. I'm like fascinated because of his knowledge of music and technical knowledge of music. I'll never have a quarter of his knowledge of music and how it's all put together. But it just so happened he had an interview with Adrian Belew. Like it was like yesterday or something, or the day before yesterday. And I'm like, how does that happen? Where I'm listening to Talking Heads, and I start listening to King Crimson, and then I click on YouTube, and there's Adrian Belew, and they're reforming King Crimson this year, and they're going to tour, and but Fripp isn't going to join. But they are getting Steve Vai, the metal guitarist who played with David Lee Roth. He was the replacement basically for Eddie Van Halen when Roth went off on his own, and Van Halen stayed Van Halen and got to have Sammy Hagar. So these cross references are crazy, and all of a sudden there's Steve Vai sitting next to Adrian Belew, and they're talking about going on tour this year and playing all those 80s King Crimson albums. And they were doing it with Fripp's blessing, but Vai talked about how hard it was to play Fripp's parts. Fripp designed stuff that was so complex. He designed stuff that was that was technically difficult to do, and he refused to take advantage of like looping technology or anything that was in its infancy in the early 80s, and demanded that they play it straight through. So he would be on one time signature playing a riff. Belew would be on a second time signature playing a riff, and they would fall out of time naturally, much like if you've seen any of those pendulum videos where they start two pendulums and they start out in sync, and then they start going out of sync, and then they're at one point 180 degrees out of sync, and then they eventually come back and they wind up in sync again, moving together. And that's how Fripp would design some of these songs. And and then the trick was, and we're going to play it live. If we get second takes, we're going to do this live. So it was such a technical challenge for these guitarists. And Vai talks about how complicated this is for him to play. And he's an adept guitar player. You know, he played with Zappa too, but he also, he's best known for me. I remember him from playing with David Lee Roth, and I remember him as the devil in Crossroads. He played the devil guitarist in Crossroads. I don't know, or maybe it wasn't Crossroads, maybe it was something else. But I remember him playing the devil guitars, somebody goes to the Crossroads, and it's in my brain that way. Maybe I've got it wrong. But supposedly, I remember somebody having to play their way out of a jam, and it was, like the classic story of the Crossroads, and Steve Vai played the devil. It was just great. Just great stuff. Anyway, but phenomenal guitarist. But he's talking about how technically difficult it is to play the stuff that, and Fripp probably couldn't play that stuff anymore. I mean, he's got to be in his 80s by now, I would think. But just kind of revisited some of that stuff, and it's kind of like my side music hustle right now. So yeah, so how crazy is that? I was listening to the Talking Heads. I started listening to King Crimson, and I click on YouTube, and they're supposed to talking for an hour about playing, and just fantastic. And yeah, both of those guys went through Zappa, so just amazing. And Baloo also played with David Bowie famously on his German tour. Okay, we can go to the chat in just a few seconds here, but I do have that viewer system coming up. We're going to do that in a little bit. And we can talk about this E3 if you want. This is an amazing accomplishment, I think, from Dan Clark Audio. This in some ways sounds like an apology for every other Dan and Clark headphone I've tried, except for the Aeon2 Noir. That is a great headphone, I thought. But I was like, that after my disappointment after disappointment, to get to get that sound out of a Dan Clark headphone was just thrilling. It was just thrilling. I had such a good episode, and it's always happy when I go in like hoping for the best, and sometimes it doesn't play out that way. And when it actually does meet and exceed my expectations, yeah, it was such a good day doing that one. And the next one's going to be great too. The next one, I got a phenomenal episode coming up next. It's a big surprise, big reveal. And I've sort of been alluding to it a little bit on this show, but you're going to know the whole story in the next episode. So good. Okay. Let's go to the chat here. Neil Snyder, shocked to hear that Entertainment Tonight programming was permanently canceled today. Bummer. Yeah, okay. April Fools. You're 2 days late, Neil. IMJ, howdy folks. We're going to look at your system, IMJ, in just a little bit. Hipster Cow, howdy gents. IMJ, great review of the A3, by the way, Michael. Yeah, I really, this was fun. This was seriously fun. I really pretty thrilled with this. This was, and I can't afford to buy them. I wish I could just afford to buy them, but I've got too much inventory here, and but that would be on a short list. I would take these. The only downside to them is they're so difficult to drive. They are not, they are not easy, folks. You can't hook up anything to them and get something great. So, okay. So looking at some industry news and stuff going on today. All right. So we got that. Gene Fruit, Discipline is fantastic. Yes. Thelahan Jinjeet's story is very cool. I don't know the whole story behind that, but if you listen to it, Gene, go listen to that. And then listen to, off of Fear of Music, listen to Izimbra. And they were playing Izimbra on the tour. Baloo was playing that lead. And listen to the similarities. They're very close at points. Now, they've got some different bridges and things they're doing differently in there, but it's really cool because you can kind of hear where Baloo took some of that, the stuff that he learned in the new wave era playing with the Talking Heads and moved it into King Crimson and evolved it in its own way and made it its own, but it's definitely evocative. Like, you can't listen to that song and listen to Izimbra. They're very similar in the way they go, and it's very interesting and very cool. I love etymology of music and watching how all this stuff evolves. I think that, music is evolutionary and people borrow from stuff. The only thing I don't like is when people don't give credit or pay, give the homage to who they're borrowing from. Led Zeppelin. That's the thing that's like not, to me, like, that it doesn't sit well. I mean, just say what it is, you know, like, hey, we're doing our version of this great old stuff. And, you know, they had to get sued before they started putting credits on their albums for Willie Dixon. Just amazing. Just amazing. Sorry, guys, I got a little cough. The Zappa guitars. Yeah, they both played with Zappa. Yeah. Before David Lee Roth and Whitesnake. Oh, I forgot that he joined Whitesnake. That's a good tip. I was a Whitesnake fan for a little bit there, but not the hugest, you know. But they had their moment. I liked Slide It In. I thought that was a really good album. Very dirty album. It was fun. It was fun 80s metal. Ken Workshop says, oh, he's just stopping in, okay, with an interesting story. Oh, Ken, do tell. Ken. Let's see, important lesson. He's been using an external clock with his Gestard A26, put it in, thought, cool. Went back and removed it, and you know what? He liked it better without. Better imaging and bass. That was something I didn't bother trying. You know, I've got the clock here with the DCS, and I didn't try retiming that hi-fi box because it did have a clock in on it. I could have tried it just to see what it did, but I didn't do it anyway. And that lesson being, listen to with your ears. Not everything is an upgrade. You know, that's so true. That's so true. And I say that, you know, don't look at a graph and buy a graph as like that's telling you everything you need to know. There are a lot of headphones that don't graph well that sound great, to me anyway. I don't always. Yeah, it was Crossroads. I knew it was Crossroads. Damn it, Gene. You're good, man. You're good. That's awesome. Yeah, I wanted to make sure, but I'm like, maybe I'm thinking of a different movie or a different video or something, but I guess I wasn't. It was Crossroads. Okay. Yeah, where Steve Vai plays the devil, challenging Ralph Macchio to a guitar duel, and he loses. like that would ever happen. That's so fun, though. What a great fun movie that was, too, you know. Bad 80s, you know, bad in a good way, but bad. It was awesome. So good today. I'm in a good mood. We got our taxes done, and it looks like we did everything right last year, and I'm not going to owe. But then we got hit with an insurance bill today for our home insurance and our earthquake insurance that was bananas. I was like, oh my God, am I glad we didn't owe on taxes, because now we got to pay this insurance stuff. It's crazy. So yeah, April's our worst month of the year because we have property taxes hit, our second installment, and then our insurance hits, and we have regular taxes. So it's like it's a triple header of death, of financial death. But we're gonna get to stay in the home office for a while longer, it looks like. and you know, foregoing headphone upgrades and outlandish purchases like potentially this. Yeah, I would take these over that Expanse, and I've already started doing some premature listening comparisons between the E3 and the Expanse, and I can tell you, world of difference. They are entirely different sounding headphones, and I can't wait to share with you guys the differences that I've heard between these two, because everything I said in that video yesterday has been justified so far in actual practice when I've actually started A/Bing these things. My memory was spot on, and I can identify specifics in the music and in the sound that are different, and it's why I've had such a positive reaction to this headphone when I haven't so much had positive reaction to the latest, to the flagships from Dan Clark. Very good. Indeed, Ken Workshop is highly subjective. What is better? It's totally subjective, because I've liked things that somebody else has come along and, you know, I liked the Meze lyric, the first Meze lyric. Thought it was great. I thought it was overpriced, but I thought it was fundamentally, it was a pretty solid headphone for what it sounded like. People hated that headphone. Like there's the animosity in the reviews coming after the Meze Lyric 2 was released is like, you know, how bad the Lyric 1. I'm like, I thought the Lyric 1 was pretty good. That was overpriced, but I thought it was pretty good. You know, so, but that's just, you know, different preferences, I guess. You know what I mean? Robert Langer, good morning from Japan. Hey, cheers, man. First live stream he's been able to catch in a while. Well, welcome, my friend. Welcome. So good to see you all here today. We're having a good week. We're having a good week. I got an episode out yesterday. I got a new headphone to check out. Got another thing that we just started shooting with yesterday or a couple days ago, and I got the next episode laid out. I'm rolling, man. We're rolling around at the director's garage, and I've been had enough time to actually listen to some music, and that chills me out and puts me in a good mood no matter what. And when I get to do a deep dive into something like King Crimson and you know. We're having a good week. We're having a good week. Yeah, very good, very good. So welcome, Robert. You got anything new to report over there in Japan? What's going on over there? You guys got? I know Singapore is going to have their Can Jam soon. Maybe this weekend. I don't remember. But what's going on in Japan? What's exciting over there? What are you into? What are you listening to over there? They have good stations. They have good. What are you checking out? Ken Workshop, second that great review of the E3. Well, thank you, Ken. That means a lot. We're going to be doing, and I got to set up the next Hangover Hangout, which is going to be a Saturday coming up. And I was going to try for this weekend, but I've got to book a guest or two. So I'm going to get into that. If I can pull it off for Saturday, we'll do it Saturday. And if not, we'll do it the next Saturday, but it's going to be one of these next two Saturdays. But I'm thrilled that I'm through tax season. That's just like it's a collective relief, and I've also started rehabbing this shoulder. It's getting better and better. I haven't gotten to all the doctor's appointments yet because they're coming up. I've got one next week and then the week after. They're going to start figuring out what to do. But I did look up on YouTube some doctors who talked about things you can do to alleviate and repair or help assist that tear. Because they're not going to operate, it doesn't sound like. It sounds like it's going to be all rehab. So I already started those exercises. I'm feeling a little better about it already. I feel like we've turned a corner with this shoulder. It's not quite as, still painful, but it's not quite as bad. Okay. Johnson, cheers, brother. Welcome to the show. We raise a glass to anybody who's new around here, and I don't remember your name, so let's raise a glass to Johnson across the world. Get you some good vibes going, man. Never heard a Dan Clark headphone before. I've heard so many of them now through either just can jams or auditions and stuff I've bought. I mean, I bought the Expanse cold, just thinking. This is going to be the one. This is going to be the one, and I got here. I was so disappointed. Never heard of Dan. Oh, JTB, are you saying Zeppelin is the best cover band ever? They might be. I'm not taking that bait, JTB. Forget it. I like my Zeppelin, but a cover band. They could be. I think if I was going to do a best cover band ever, that would be Manfred Mann. Manfred Mann covered so many songs well. That would be my best cover band ever. Neil Snyder says, Parisia by Animals as Leaders is a great listen. I'll have to check that out. Copy that over to the list. I haven't heard that one. All right, copy it. Put it on my notes, show notes. Very good. Everybody check that out from Neil Snyder. It's our recommendation. Yo, 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 Mr. Dynamite says. Cheers, brother. Good to see you. Robert Langer, we have 2 headphone shows in spring and fall put on by a company called Fuji Avic. Not Can Jam size, but pretty big. Well, that's... I mean, the thing is, what people don't understand is, like, the U.S. is kind of the minor leagues for Japan in terms of headphones. Like we're the feeder, like the feeder league for Japan and the enthusiasm for headphones over there. It's like 8 times what it is in the States. Like it's crazy over there. I mean, it's a lifestyle. It's a whole thing. Everything is run by headphones over there. So it's really interesting. If you ever get a chance to go to Japan, make sure you're stopping in some audio stores, because the enthusiasm for headphones and IEMs over there, particularly IEMs, is bananas. It's so different from the US. It's really something. It's really quite amazing. It's the big just next level. Okay, Gene Fruit might have a difficult time getting a guest on April 13th, as that's Exponia. Oh, good point. Well, we'll see what I can do. I got to piece together, but whatever. We'll see. Aun 17S Pro 699 Class A amp is fantastic, worth a look. Let's take a look. Let's see what it is. Is it an Audio 46? Let's start there, because I'm on that page. Nope. Nope. They don't have everything. They have a lot, though. Aun S7 Pro. Yes. Let's take a look. Oh, there it is. Okay, Aun store. Okay. Let's pull this in. Okay, we can go to this. Let's check it out. Comes to us as a recommendation. Why not? And here it is. Class A, fully discrete. Like to see that. R2R volume control. It's kind of a shapely thing. It's got some nice sexy curves on it. Kind of like it. Love a big screen. Got a nice knob. Quote me on that. See the backside? Yeah. Okay. It's a no-nonsense. I mean, for €700, yeah, it comes with a remote. Very good. Very nice. This thing looks impressive. All right, we'll check it out. If you want to, check it out. There you go. Price is right. Love me something at that price. Very cool. Very cool. Like that. Always willing to take a look. Chance D, bad shoulder. I guess you won't be pitching this year. Yeah, that's why they're not going to, I asked them if they wanted to do surgery on the shoulder, and they said, well, you're not going to be starting for the Dodgers this year. So, we tend to go to the rehab route. I said, whatever you want, man. Just make it not hurt anymore, man. I'm just having a hard time sleeping. Robert Lang, we're about the same age and have similar musical tastes. I'd be interested in any new music that you've been listening to. For him, it's Marcus King Band, Motet, and Talk. I don't know if I've been listening. I like finding hidden gems and going back. I'm more like, I find stuff after it's popular. It's like I go back and go, wow, that was really good. That was something people were into like 30 years ago, and I wasn't. Now I am. I'm trying to think of anything new. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that is jumping out at me. But I mean, and there's a lot of pop stuff out there that's okay. I actually think Olivia Rodrigo's pretty talented, and I've for pop, it's like more in line with what I can listen to. Stuff I can't listen to is like the Billie Eilish stuff that's like all close mic'd and she's barely talking like this, and it's all the same stuff to me. It's like every one of her songs sounds the same. I'm like, that's just me. That's just me. I know people love her, but I'm like, not for me. And I was listening to the new Beyonce record. I listened to the new. It's not very country. Let's be straight. It's they calls it a country album, and I'm like, well, it's got some country stuff, and there's some guitars on it, which I guess you could maybe shoehorn into like saying, well, it's country-esque. But there's only a couple of country songs on there that I would actually call country. And then there's a butchered version of Blackbird on it, which I really don't like. where she did all this layering of vocals. It's like it takes away the simplicity and beauty of the song and makes it into something it didn't need to be. I'm not sure what that's about. Although I did read that the backing track on Blackbird is actually the Beatles' backing track. She called Paul McCartney and got the okay to use the original backing track on Blackbird. Anyway, neither here nor there. Either you're into it or you're not. I liked the Texas Hold'em song. It's more poppy, but I thought that was good. And they told me the Miley. I haven't gotten all the way through it yet. I was just listening to it in the car the other day when I was driving around. Threw it on for the heck of it. Wanted to hear it. What everybody's talking about. Gil Renard says it gets very, very hot. That's that Aoun I'm guessing you're talking about. So it's arguably Class A. Aoun claims there's no AB. Best cover band, Mortal Coil, 80s music project from the 4AD label. Put out 3 albums that were mostly covers. There you go. There was a local band in Chicago that we used to go see, and they were a disco band in the 90s. And they called themselves the Aphrodisiacs, spelled like AFRO. And they were 3 white guys who put on these massive... you probably couldn't do it today. Somebody would like really slam you for like cultural appropriation or something. But they put on these massive afros and red jumpsuits. And they only played to a backing track. So they were only singing live. There was no music involved other than... everything was coming off of tape. But interestingly enough, the tape they were playing was a cassette, which kind of fit more of the time. And they would sing to it, and they held the whole dance routine and everything, and they would do all of those disco songs from the 70s, like all of the Wild Cherry, Play That Funky Music, and all that stuff. They did all of them, and it was such a fun show. We used to go watch them in Chicago at the Cubby Bear they'd play. Just right across from Wrigley Field, or it was. I don't know if it's still there anymore. That was fun stuff, though. There's a YouTube show that this is from Chance. There's a YouTube show that shows a Japanese headphone coffee shop where you can sit and try out just about any headphone you desire. See, now that's fun. That's like next. That's what I'm talking about next level. They are so next level over there. So fun, man. That would be my jam. I would be like in there, like I don't even drink coffee, and I'd take up coffee drinking just to go sit in that place and try out the different headphones. I did see a review of the latest Mercedes-Benz E-Class, and there are separate Bluetooth connections for the driver and passenger. So you can now the driver in the back seat. So everybody can be listening to something different while they're in the car now. So there's no more fighting for the radio station, I guess, in Mercedes land. I don't own one. Just something a random thought popped into my head. Robert Lager says, yeah, those bands are new to him, so they're definitely not pop. Okay, well, I'll check these out. I'm going to copy these over, and if I like any of them, Robert, I'll let you know. We'll report back for the heck of it. That's fun. That's fun. I always like new music recommendations. Very cool. This week it's King Crimson from me. If you haven't listened to those 80s King Crimson, go ahead and check it out. JTB says he saw Marcus King open for Kenny Wayne Shepherd in New York. A really talented guitarist. Mrs. Director just got home. Very good. Anthony 37. This is like... this is gonna like if I were like doing my bio, like, and we were talking about like all of the different things that Michael did in his career and reviewed on his show and whatever, and the last credit would be, and he never did get to that HM1 review because it keeps getting put off. The HM1 review was supposed to be next week, and it's now delayed a week for a very good reason. All right, good to know. The HM1 review got put off for a very good reason that will make sense all next week. It's just going to be a week delayed, so it'll be in 2 weeks unless, you know, circumstances make me push the show around. But it was going to be next week. That was the original plan, but now I had to push it for something, for a reason. Yes, very good though. But it's coming. I swear to God, it's coming. I have a lot to say about it, and there are great things about it. I mean, really great things about it, and there should be for $8,000. But there's also some things where it's a little, you know, limited, and you've got to plan for stuff, you know, and that's what it's coming down to. And I don't think I've made it any, I've made it any secret that it's a little underpowered. You know, it's not the last name in, you know, the Enlium-23R just knocked its, you know, butt over when it comes to pure power. So, you know, there's that. However, Enlium is arguably not as clean an amp, so there's a lot to say about it. It's very much an interesting piece of gear, and worth owning. I don't know if it's worth sitting for this kind of money, but you know, that's a question, a debate for another thing. I have to get back into like a serious gear assessment around here, and I have to get back on HeadFi. I have been off of HeadFi for probably 3 or 4 months. I used to like. There was a period of time back when the Director's Garage had money, folks. Remember those days? They were just like yesterday. You know, we go through the transition to yesteryear when I had cash to spend freely. The thing of it is, what was I going to say? I need to get on HeadFi because I know there are some people that are inquiring about buying some stuff. But I stopped, like, I used to watch 3 months, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, I would, like, every day I would be on the classifieds, like, keeping an eye on what was selling for what price and what was not moving. And, you know, it gives you a really good, if you start watching what's selling on the secondhand market, you kind of get a sense of where the industry is. And there are some HM1s that are trickling onto the market now, but there's some people who have been trying to contact me about buying things like the Bakoon 13R, which I'm tempted to do, but they're offering me, it's like I'm going to take more than $1,000 hit on that if I sell it for what he wants to buy it for. So I'm still kind of like, I had a scary low bid on there's a scary low bit on my, what am I thinking of? The STAX, SRX 9000. And I'm like, I just can't let this stuff go for that little when I've got so much into them, price-wise. Holly's coming in. Holly's trying to thread his way because I have the curtains pulled. It's a very bright day outside, and if I don't pull the curtains, I get all blown out. Background gets all blown out. Can't see the colors. Got to see the colors, boys. Got to see the colors. When might the HM... So that's the answer on the HM1 anyway. And a phenomenal singer, JTB. JTB sings? I didn't know that. I'll have to check out Marcus King. That's another one. I'm going to put that... Oh, I already put it in there. Okay. We'll check that out. Very good. Very good. June Liu. And I've got to... we're going to get to our viewer system in a second. IMJ is standing by. He's going to... We're gonna take a look at his system, which I'm super excited to show you guys. It's an update. We actually looked at his system last year, but it's changed a ton since then. So, and he's got some really good gear, really fun gear to look at. So that's really cool. What DAP best drives the E3? Well, the DAP isn't so much the issue. The issue is the amp. You want to hook it up direct to a DAP. Well, you need something with a ton of power, and the only one that I can think of just off the top of my head that has a good output stage is the Cayin. I would look at a Cayin maybe, because that seems to be like the more powerful of the DAPs themselves. If you don't add an amp to it, an outboard amp, like a second thing. So that's my off the cuff answer. And if you're looking, you know, then you need a portable something to push them to. Because I don't think that the Cord Hugo 2 by itself is going to be enough. And that would be like kind of the thing I would gravitate towards, because there's decent output on it, but it's not enough, I don't think, to drive that headphone. Yeah. Anybody remember the cover band Dred Zeppelin? Hell yeah! That was awesome. I love Dred Zeppelin. Reggae versions of Zeppelin songs. Yeah, they were fantastic. I had their CD somewhere. And they're still on, you probably get them on Spotify or any of those streaming apps. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I haven't revisited them in a long time, but I enjoyed the hell out of them. I thought they were really fun. Holly tearing up the carpet. Nice, Holly. Ha ha ha, Mrs. Director. Yes, she stuck her head in. I have the unleaded album. That's the album that I had, Gene. I had the unleaded album. It was fun. Right now, there's an HM1 on Head-Fi classified right now for $7,500. Yeah. And I've seen them for $8 on, you know, they're kind of going for basically list price right now, which is fine. I just don't know. I haven't made up my mind where I'm going next with this stuff. My inclination is that I'm kind of done exploring the electrostatic space. I don't want to get rid of all my electrostatic gear. I want to keep like a pair or two around here, and I'll keep the Energizer amp, whatever you guys want to call it, for it. But I'm not gonna. But I don't want to keep the SRX 9000. I think I've done everything I want to do with them, and I want to send them on their way. I just got to find a buyer who's going to give me something reasonable for them. And I know that, you know, it's always that's what they're paying for, and I get it. But, you know, it's like there's a lot of there's the cost of my what I put into the LCD5, because I bought the LCD5 new, and then my Ferrum stack. So I've got like $5,000 into those things. Like, oh, it's kind of scary, man. I'm trying to get, you know, a little bit out of that, but we'll see what happens. I don't know. Maybe I just keep them. It's not a bad headphone. It's just I'm not using them, and I'm kind of out of the electrostatic. I'm more focused on headphones right now. The no con works well with the E3. Yeah, the Astell&Kern, I don't think you're going to put an SP 3000 on it and it's going to like light it up. I don't see that happening. But I would say the Cayin is the one to look at if I had to guess, if I was going to steer you one way or another. Okay, let's take a look at IMJ's system because we can. Oh, somebody also sent me something else that was cool. Maybe we'll do that real quick first. I think I have it called up. Hang on, we gotta shrink some stuff down here. Let's go to that. Oh, here it is. Somebody sent me something real cool, and I'll just go through this quickly, and then we'll jump over to IMJ system. This is. So we were talking about the other day about the records you used to get on the back of cereal boxes and stuff. And somebody's got like a collection of them on a page online. It's like an Archie record. You pull this off of. They would ship these things with your on the back of. They'd like stick them to the back of cereal boxes, and you could play it off, and it would actually play on your little turntable. That was kind of fun. Somebody had some examples of these online. The Flexi records. So fun. Good stuff. All right, let's take a look at... Hello. There we go. Let's go to IMJ system now real quick. Yeah. Open with preview. This should be fun. This should be fun. Let's start with a pair of ZMFs. That's his Atrium. I like these. God, I love the Atrium. I think the Atrium is the prettiest damn headphone. It's so great. It's just next level. I don't know if Zach will ever be able to top this. I mean, this is phenomenal. But here's the system. Here we go. We got some hollow gear down low, and it looks like we got an Ever Solo in the middle. a WA23 from Woo at the top. That's this beautiful vintage style. I can even zoom in on this, I think. Amp. Check that out. Oh yeah, baby. We can, because we could. We got a Sesfara over, you know, matching it just for fun. Why not? The stack down below is the May. So he's got the May doing his DAC work. He's got the Ever Solo to do the streaming. And then he's got a beautiful, beautiful WA23 up here at top to drive everything. And those simple systems where there's not a lot of elements in them, that's really a special way to go. Very cool. So let's go back out and we'll take a look at his couple. He's got a couple other close-ups. There's a better shot of the 23 with the Sesfara, flanked by the Sesfara and the Atrium. Very cool. A side view, giving us some angles. Turn your head to the left, to the left. It was a photo shoot. Love the cable too. That's a nice cable. What's that cable? Very cool. What's the cable on the ZMF too? Oh yeah. That looks like the same cable that they, I don't know, maybe not. I was going to say it's the same one that I got with the Modhouse tungsten. Very cool. God, this is a great system. What's that on the bottom there? Whoa, wait a minute, we're missing something. Hang on, we're missing something down low. That might be power conditioner, bro. Let's take a look. Is that a power conditioner? So cool. What a great system, man. You're jamming. You're hooked up. You're just hooked up, man. That's a fun listening station. Love it. Those are the photos, folks. But man, IMJ, bravo, man. That is an awesome system. I think we could all do with that. That's nice. Arctic Cable, Opera V2 on the Sesfara. Very nice. It's a Norn on the... Oh, I didn't know that was a Norn. I didn't recognize it. I thought Norn does mostly those covered cables like I have, but very cool. And it's a power conditioner on the bottom, Audio Quest. Very cool system, IMJ. Very cool. Man, that's a midweek. That'll perk you up. That's good stuff. That is good stuff, man. Very nice. Okay, back to the chat, man. That's fun. That's a good time. You got a lot of stuff going on there. And I'm jealous of the Ever Solo. That Ever Solo, that thing, that's something I would love to have in-house. It's a little redundant, though, with my DCS here. So I'm like, it doesn't make sense for me. But as a box, I'm like, that's a killer box. Man, you're doing all right with that thing. Just streams anything. So good. Gilrenard says FiO M17 DAP is 3 watts if plugged in. Half that from battery. Okay. So if you plug in, if you go off the wall with your FiO, you can get more out of it. It's big. Okay. Yeah, I think my best guess would be something like the Cayin. I mean, it's not cheap. Those things are expensive, but you know, check the power outputs. That's all you can do. I don't know that, you know, it's just not a headphone that's designed to run. And that was what I was talking about, you know, with the E3. We talked about the Modhouse and the E3. It's just like this, you know, this is made for travel. Like this fits in my bag. It's got tons of room. And then it's like, but how do you carry the backpack so you can slide the amp in and take it with you? You know, I'm gonna have to carry around my DCS stack with me. But it's portable. Yeah, sure. You know, maybe there's some small shit, you know, amps you could pick up, like, you know, something that would have enough power for it. I don't know if shits line up that well, but they seem to me to be the type of company that would have something like that you might want. That could work. iBasso. Chance, that's a good idea. And I'm not familiar with their line as much, but yeah, absolutely. I'm Jay, man. We're still loving that system, man. It's a whole lot of fun. Yeah. And that's what it's about, right? That's what it's about. It's about having a good time, and it's about, you know, sharing these experiences with each other. That's why I'm doing I do the live stream, and it's why I'm doing the Saturday, the Hangover Hangouts once a month. It just connects us, gets us all talking about this stuff, and you know, it excites our ideas as a plane goes whizzing by the window. I think it's a helicopter. But it gets our excitement up for the hobby and for what we want to do next, and what's exciting us, and what, you know, our passions, you know. For me, it's like I don't know what to do here. I'm like I'm kind of like at a crossroads, a major crossroads, and I've got to figure out what's gonna, you know, what directions we're gonna go in, and what I'm gonna bite the bullet on, and take a couple of hits. Because I can't just, if that Expanse has got to go. So what I may do is uncouple the cable from the deal, because the cable seems to be a hang-up. Nobody wants to buy the cable, you know, because I have to try and get the cable money out of it. And that's, you know, the cable's like $1,000. So I'm just trying to get like a few $100 out of it. But they're like, no, we'll buy it for, you know, we'll buy the headphone by itself. So maybe that's what I need to do, is I got to pull the cable out of the deal and save the Norn for if I buy an E3 someday. Who knows? But what a cool headphone. So good. Just wowed me. But I need to, you know, I need to turn over some stuff, and I need to start focusing on that. I've been so mired in what I've been planning, and I mean what I've been trying to get through in my day-to-day life with the taxes, and I was sick and I got the shoulder and trying to rehab that and all this stuff. It's just been a challenge to like try and think out a bigger scope than get the next episode out and, you know, keep patch the hole in the dam because it's starting to leak again, you know. So this is the first time I've actually had a kind of chance to start reassessing what I want to do. Yeah, and Amar, I see your comment on it. Trevor has already volunteered. He said we'll re-terminate it. He goes, I'll re-terminate that cable any way you want. I gotta contact him anyway. I wanted to see the episode from the other day because I had such nice things to say. It's maybe something he can use for his media. Always happy to help him out. We don't have any deal between us. I just happen to like his gear, or, you know, like what he does with cables. So I'm happy to support him. It's good. It's good stuff. All right, let's go back up to, where was that? Chance D says, if they ever have to go on life support, that's the system he wants to be hooked up to. Yeah. And IJ says he's getting the Zale in, and when he's done with and then he's done with electronics upgrades for the desktop system until the next one. That's how it always goes. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I like the Zale, but I'm still curious about the amp, about the DCS amp. Look, I've heard. I'm sorry. I keep getting there's a helicopter circling somewhere around here, but I keep going back and forth on it. Like, it's really good, but it's still falling a little short of what I would want from an $8,000 device. At the same time, it's the cleanest damn thing on the planet. So it's like, if it had a little more juice, I wouldn't, but I still want to hear that DCS. And the DCS has gotten reviewed average. Like, they haven't always said it's a bad amp, but they said it's the least impressive of the three things in that DCS Lena system. So, but does that mean that it's not worth trying? So I would love to get, I wrote DCS a while back trying to get a loaner in here just to see what it sounds like. With the idea of, if I like it, then I'll start thinking about changes to make. If I like it better than, say, the Lena or the Zale. They're both about the same price, basically. There's a sale going on right now at Moon Audio. They've got 15% off on that amp. So it's like, it's $8,000. It's exactly the same price as what I paid for the Zale. Now, I don't think it's as, I don't know. I want to get it in. I just got to get it in. It's like an A-B the thing. That's the whole thing for me. But I think that, IMJ, I think you're, dead on right. You've got your, one question for you though is what's the output voltage on, I'm going to ask a question I don't know the answer to. What's the output voltage on your DAC? Does the Hollow have adjustable output? Can you go up to 6 volts, 9 volts? What's the limit on that? What will it output in line level? Because line level standard is 2 volts, I think. But what is that? Is that capable of juicing? Because that's a key element with that Zale is you've got to be able to play with the input. With the input going into the Zale. Anyway, we'll do a little bit more and then we'll call it a day for today. It's going to be a shorter show. Not as much to talk about today. But it's fun, man. We got to see his viewer system. We talked about some new bands. Love this one. I love these live streams. It's so fun. Amar checking in. Cheers, Amar. Yeah, you can send it back to Norman. And I said, as I said, Trevor has already contacted me after seeing one of my episodes and said, "Hey, I'll just, re-terminate it for you, free." He said he'd be happy to, because he likes to see his cables, getting used. That's fair. He's also looking for that cleanliness from the Zale. It is clean. It's super clean. And used as a pre to the 23. There you go. There's your ticket. As a pre to the 23, now you've got plenty. You can drive anything with that if you're driving, because it's so clean. It is like a preamp stage almost. That's smart. IMJ, that's really good thinking. 5.8 volts, you're golden. As long as you can get 6 volts out of the, around 6 volts out of the Hollow, then you can run the Zale direct. It'll drive almost anything at 6 volts. It drives the mod house just fine. Anything under that starts getting a little, you got to really open up, probably past its comfort level. But there is a difference in that. This is a pure Class A amp, and that means it's making full power all the time. And the pot is just squeezing what's coming out. So it's not like you're increasing the power output as you're opening up the volume, which is how an AB works, an Class AB amp. It stages your gain as you open, or not your gain, your power output as you open up the pot. So I don't think you're hurt. I don't think you have to worry about that distortion or anything, or over pushing the amp or anything. Have you tried anything? This is from Amar. Have you tried any other higher end solid state amps like the Nimbus or the Benchmark? Not those two. I've had a lot of different amps in here over there. I've had the Bakoon and the I've had the certainly the Ferrum Stack, which I think is the buy. That's my recommendation in that price range. I have not had in-house any of the Hollow stuff, and I think it's great stuff. I just haven't had a chance to get it in. I haven't had any of the modern Burson stuff in, but that's certainly phenomenal. But I think that the Ferrum stuff is like a sweet spot price to performance in all the DAC stuff. Yes, but Jarek has arrived. That's good. Welcome, Jarek. Not going to be on. We're not going to be around a ton longer today, but welcome everybody. Cheers. So good. Unless we get into a discussion about something. Cord Dave is perfectly mated to his HM1. Dave out pre's are up to 9 volts. Yeah, and that's what's great about the Wanma, is it goes up to 9 volts. and the HM1 accepts up to 10 volts. Yeah, it's great, and that's the thing. That's the whole. That's the whole benefit. If you can push that input gain, and as long as the amp can take it, that's how you get better output for your headphones without pushing gain. Don't push gain, push power. Power, gain, two different things. And I still see people making that mistake. It happens all the time. Oh, I'm just went into high gain on it. I'm like, well, why would you do that? You just degraded your signal. There's also a debate going on online about high res and do high res audio files, like, PCM, whatever, your different MP3, all the different formats you've got. Are the 192.24 files better or worse than the 44.148 files? And the argument there's an audiologist who's making the argument that there is actually no benefit and in fact a destructive quality to those higher end recordings. And he lists a whole bunch of tangible biological reasons that a 192 file can't sound better than a 44.1 file. And I say I can hear the difference. I can hear a difference. And DSD to me sounds like the cleanest version of all of them. I just think DSD sounds better. And I have to believe my own ears. That's so you have to trust your ears. But according to there's like an article that was running around Facebook by an audiologist who claims that you actually you're hearing worse if you play higher resolution into it. I'm like, okay, but I haven't experienced that for myself. Hello, Jarek. Hi, Jarek. Jarek says, did you get my email with the pictures? Jarek, let me look. I don't think I did. Oh, the cardboard records. We already did it, man. We already showed we showed the cardboard records off. Yes, that was earlier in the stream. I showed that just before I showed IMJ's system, which is phenomenal. And when we get done with the stream, go back and watch that. It's really fun. Really fun. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. You can't be around for everything. You guys have lives. You shouldn't. You should just be tuned in to the Director's Garage 24/7, going through all 227 episodes or whatever the hell we got. Fun little thing. That's a good time. So what do you think? Are you considering? Yeah, so I just showed that page off. That's all. He cooks his eggs on top of the 23R. Neil Snyder says the Aon, it was mentioned earlier, runs hot. He cooks his eggs on top of his Enlium 23R. It's as hot as you think the 23R is. This 13R is even warmer. This thing, and because I've had both in here, I'm telling you, this is even warmer than the Enlium. It's phenomenally hot. This thing just bakes. And I think part of the problem is that the case design, these need to be like real fins. And they're releasing a lot of the heat through the bottom, through the feet. Now, I'm no geoscientist, thermodynamics expert, but hot air rises. So if you're releasing the air, if you're releasing the heat on the bottom side, isn't it just going up and recirculating itself through the bottom of the amp? Maybe not the best idea. So good. So good. So there you go. There you go. Those are awesome records. Yes. The lives fund the audio. The lives fund the audio addiction, though. Yes, hipster cow. Totally true. Totally true. Trying to catch up to the chat where I'm at here. Yes, Jarek check the rerun. Those are awesome records. Revolver, one of my most sentimental albums of all times. Yes, this is my favorite. This is my favorite Beatles album of all time. And when Revolver came out, I bought a couple T-shirts because I just love Revolver. It's my favorite record of theirs. Personal favorite. I love Rubber Soul. Ooh, wow! What happened to the voice? I love Rubber Soul. Pepper is an icon. Abbey Road, special. White Album is just different and weird and fun, and I love it. And I loved the American release of Magical Mystery Tour. Thought it was fantastic, but you know, whatever. It's just Revolver is my record. It speaks to me the most. I just think it has a little bit of everything. It's got a little bit of the trippiness of what was to come. And my favorite Beatles song is Strawberry Fields, which was released right after that. That's my favorite era for them. So good. But that's myself. And there are a lot of people who don't even like the Beatles. And I'm like, what are you, crazy? What did you think of the audio ads that framed in the email? Did we show any of those? No, I didn't show any of those. I'll review that. I don't want to get too far afield from, you know, and tear people down a rabbit hole. But I did want to get to IMJ's. Definitely want to get to the IMJ system. It was so cool. Go back and watch that. That is going to impress you. Holy goodness, what a system. Marco B checking in. Marco, how you doing, buddy? IMJ thinks they were moms back in the day. Yeah, they were fun. Those I love those little floppies you get off the back of cereals. Those are fun. Jarek is more of a Hard Day's Night or Help person himself. Yeah, there's everybody has their thing if they like it, but for me, this is going to be sacrilege. You guys think I'm nuts, but I've actually said this publicly in a couple of chat forums. Drive My Car is my least favorite Beatles song. I don't like the song. I just don't like the song. It's true. It's just a bass song with lyrics that just don't go anywhere. It's like the height of it's before they were influenced by Dylan. Once they were once they were introduced to Dylan, they would have never written a song like Drive My Car. It's just too straightforward. And I hate the lyrics. So that's, it's just my least favorite. And then what came after it was, then they had the explosion. They went into Rubber Soul, and that's where things got interesting to me. But Drive My Car I can't stand. I just can't listen to that record. It's the one Beatles song that I will skip without question. And What Goes On in Her Heart, like Ringo singing, fine. That just doesn't work for me. I just can't stand Drive My Car. I said it publicly. Let the flogging begin. Hipster Cow, how long between the last time you sent in photos and today's update, IMJ? Oh, that's a good question. FYI, he's starting a YouTube audio gear review channel called I Can't Hear Shit. Showing folks how to appreciate music without actually being able to hear it. I like that. That's a good concept. But the key about YouTube, and I don't know everything about it, and I don't do all the right things. You have to upload regularly, which I don't do. You have to be very, very narrowcast on your subject. It's got to be just pinpoint sliver casting. They used to call it broadcasting, and then they called it narrowcasting. This is sliver casting. You have to be so specific to get your channel to move at all. It's got to be the same thing over and over with a very specific topic. And I don't do... I'm closer to staying on topic of the two things, but I don't upload regularly, and that kills this channel. That's why I've been in this 3 years, and I've got 5,700 subscribers instead of... Or I just suck, which could be the other excuse altogether. Yeah, Neil, the break even is 2 million subscribers. And I'll never have that. I mean, this channel I'll be lucky if I ever get to 20,000, 30,000. I do believe that there's a flashpoint, though, if you're lucky. If you're one of the lucky guys and you happen to come across a topic that resonates and it gets picked up by the YouTube algorithm and whatever, you can gain a whole bunch in a hurry. It can go exponentially, but it's striking the lottery. And I'm like, I don't have the patience to try and work the system. All I can do is be myself and support the community and do this stuff because I love doing it. That's all I can do. Okay. Okay, so IMJ, 6 months, not entirely sure. It was the end of the ownership of the Ferrum stack. That's roughly IMJ's timetable between his previous system and the system now. Because I remember seeing the Ferrum stack in the last set of batch of photos. So good. We talked about that. Chance D says James Brown Live in Paris is an album that exemplifies the best of him and his band. I love James Brown. Who doesn't love James Brown? I'm like, he just, the energy, and I just think that he's funk, man. He just got it. It's that 5/4 time, so good. I'm a huge James Brown fan. I'll go on binges with James Brown. It's just like, you got to hear it, got to run through those classics. So good. Just sang with such passion and energy, and you could just you knew what he was singing about. You felt it, and that's a great singer. Great singers, just you feel them. You don't have to. There you go. Marco, sorry, little sidetrack there with James Brown. I love James Brown. I could talk about James Brown. All those records, man, so fun. Second law of thermodynamics about heat always flowing spontaneously from a hot region to the colder one. Right on, brother. Damn, you're a mechanical heating engineer as well, director. Yeah. I just once that heat leaves, it's going to go right back into the amp. So I don't know. It was just kind of crazy for me to put the heat sinks on the bottom. I get it. Moving it out to the side, you've got more room, vertical. You've got more lateral movement of air. Makes sense to put them on the side. On the bottom? Curious choice. Jarek says he's got to admit the first time he discovered this show, he didn't really like it. And he avoided it. Then it grew on him. And now he loves and devours every episode. I'm like mold. I'm like stale cheese. You gotta understand why the French love their stinky cheese so much. Once you understand the stinky cheese, you'll understand the director's garage. I think people misinterpret what I'm doing here. They think I think people just don't understand it, and I can try and explain it, but I'm all about the passion of the hobby, and I'm all about connecting people, and I'm all about staying positive. And I'm like, I don't need to do. Look, there's plenty of places you can go to have guys tear shit apart. That's fine. Go and have at them. Just go enjoy it. I just can't do it, and I like people who are into it. And I'm never going to point at somebody and like the problem we have generally is that people feel the need to point to somebody to make themselves feel better, and they need to go, that's that's a dumb choice to buy that headphone, because I would never buy that headphone. And I'm like, if you're enjoying it and you love it, have at it. That's the thing. That's the thing of the thing. You just have to enjoy what, you know, and celebrate. When somebody finds something that they love, great. Because I've spent too many tens of thousands of dollars on stuff, and it's like, I'm still like, there are things that I love, I think, that are fantastic, but I'm like, I still, there's times when I'm like, I don't know that I'm there yet. I don't know that I'm where I want to wind up, and I don't know where the destination is. But man, okay. But yeah, I tell people all the time I'm an acquired taste, and I really mean that. I'm like, I don't need to be loved by everybody. I don't need to be the #1 show on YouTube. I never planned to be the #1. This all started because I did something really dumb, and I thought I'd go on YouTube and share it with everybody. And the next thing you know, we're a couple hundred episodes later, and you know, and here we are on a Wednesday just talking shit about whatever. And it's fun for me, and I hope it's fun for you guys, you know. That's all it is. Mr. Revolver, quick question. What IEM are you rocking lately? Thanks in advance. The IEM I'm rocking lately has been, without question... Oh, it's deep in the bag. Shoot. It was sitting. The K10L by Noble. It's just not here right now. The K10L by Noble, and that was a custom pair that John Moulton made for me as a gift, and I said, I'm going to make you something, and I want you to just check them out. And he designed this burl wood. I've shown him on the show a few times, but he handcrafted this burl wood K10L, and the K10L it's a balanced balanced armature arrangement. There's 10 balanced armatures per side, and they split it up. It's a very nice sounding headphone. It is not the end all be all in detail, but it is very smooth, and they have a great sound to them. And then because they came from the hand of a manufacturer and a personal friend, they have an extra special meaning for me, and I've just found myself listening to them more and more lately. Much in the same way I've been listening to the Atrium more and more lately. It's like it's a handcrafted set. It's not the most resolving thing in the world, but they sound damn good, and they can play across genre, and just love them. So that's what I've been doing lately. And it just so happens that the other part of that is it's easily driven by my iPhone, and it's easily driven by that Quest style dongle DAC that I bought, that I showed off on the show. There you go. The last few, and then we'll get out of here. Let you guys get on with your Wednesday for fun. Jerk, it's definitely unique, but that's what appealed to him from the get-go. Oh, you're talking about... I don't know what you're talking about. Production-wise, I think it's a whole lot of fun. Yes, the show is all about production. It's just me having fun with video stuff, because that's what I do for my living. The fungus is contagious. He can't get enough technical reviews. He needs more of a connection. He gets enough technical reviews. He needs more of a connection to the music and more of the emotional sides. Yeah. And I'm an enthusiast. I'm not like, I don't want to be the reviewer, and I don't want to sit here and talk about numbers. I will talk about like practices that I know are wrong. And you know, it's wrong to reach for the gain switch the first time you want to jump the loudness. It's like, I want to be the... We had a guy who was trying to teach how to edit. I taught this kid how to edit, and he wound up having a career as an editor, but he was a golf instructor, and they said, you know, can you teach this kid? He's a friend of mine. Can you teach him how to edit? I said, sure. And the problem he had was he would... the fastest way to edit is using a keyboard. Keyboard, there is nothing in the world that is faster than a keyboard when it comes to video editing. You have to learn the shortcuts in the app, and you have to use the keyboard. nothing will go faster. There's no mouse, there's no scroll wheel, there's no fancy pen, there's none of that. All that shit slows you down. It will ultimately make you a slower editor. And the mouse is the worst thing because we call them mousers, the editors that are mousers. And it's when they have to click on every little action that they do. They click to play, and they click to cut, and they click to mark. And I used to keep a ruler around. And anytime this kid would reach for the ruler, I'd go, smack him on the hand. Or reach for the mouse, I would smack him on the hand. Ow! And that's what I did. And every time he reached for the mouse, I'd smack him and go, shortcuts. You're not going to get fast if you can't learn your shortcuts. So I would whack him on the hand every single time. So that's what I want to do when people go to reach for the gain switch on their amps. It's like you realize what you're doing. You're turning up the sensitivity and you're making the amp noisy. You're just adding grain to your sound signal. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. Get away from there are times when, I guess you have just times when you have no choice because you're out of amp or whatever, but it's like the problem there is not the gain, it's that you don't have enough power in the headphone or in the headphone amp. There you go. That's my one technical tip that I will beat into people over time and time again. Neil says, if you sold all that audio gear, you could actually move out of the garage and back into the house. Just a thought. Would get my marriage revitalized. Audio gear is not good for marriage, guys. I'm just telling you that right now. Jarek says he'd like a tour of the back wall, the color scheme of the equipment and the logo, the green and purple. Was that intentional? And is this actually filmed in a garage? No, Jarek, this isn't a bed. I won't do the tour today because there's too much going on. But basically, there's a reel-to-reel deck and there's a turntable. Both have not been used in a while, unfortunately. I'm not set up for that here at the moment. There's a Macintosh C2600. That's a that drives for the turntable and and it's got a tube stage on it, which I just love. Keeps that nice analog warmth going for the reel-to-reel. And then I got a whole host of headphones, and then there's a couple of amps back there, most of which have been on. In fact, everything's been on the show. A couple of things are deep in the focus back there that you can't see that are upcoming, but that's my little Easter egg, which it's been back there the whole time. You just didn't see it. It's just fun. But yeah, the story of the garage was this show is originally going to be filmed in a garage. At the old house, the garage was separate from the house. They were on different levels. And you actually had to leave the house and go to the garage. And my plan was to take the garage, which was relatively vacant, and drop lights from the ceiling and make a formal set there. That was the original plan. But the director's garage wasn't necessarily going to be an audio show at that point. It was going to be a fix-it show where I fixed things on camera or didn't fix things on camera. So you're going to see a lot of screw-ups as I did stupid things like unwound the spring on a old phonograph record flare. And I have one video that I shot and never made it to air where I was trying to put a new spring in and the whole thing came unwound at once and it threw shit all over the garage and I was covered in grease. It was hysterical, but somewhere around here the footage still exists, but what wound up happening was I simplified it because we hit COVID. The plans for that YouTube channel never got off the air, never got off the ground. And what happened was we ran into COVID. And I kept the Director's Garage idea, because I just kind of liked it. And the logo I built myself. I just did it in Photoshop or one of the Adobe apps. And then it moved to the den because I set up a YouTube studio there. It wasn't a YouTube studio. It was the Zoom studio that I was using to do all of my conference calls once we got into COVID. And I thought, well, let's just do the show from here. And then I had bought all those headphones and I did the first show. And then it just went from there. There you go. That's the thing in a nutshell. Okay, so let's see. Tour the back wall. Howdy, Ace of Spades. Cheers, Ace of Spades. Just getting out of work. Well, welcome to the madness that is the Director's Garage Humpday Happy Hour Hangout. The atriums are so good. Not accurate by any stretch of the meaning, but engaging. I don't want accurate. Accurate to me means flat in a headphone. You'll never see me go for a flat headphone. Flat headphones are boring. I want headphones that bring life to the music and accentuate the fun stuff and get me engaged emotionally with the music. Flat headphones are analytical. They'll tell you if something was mixed, how something was mixed. They'll tell you if there's technical problems with something, or, you know, allow you to analyze what instrument is where. I'm like, I want to enjoy music when I'm listening to headphones. I don't care so much about breaking it down into its perfect things. I want a fun bass, a lively bass. I want a clear treble, something that this E3 does real well on both ends. Maybe pushes the treble a little too much, but enjoyable and clear and clean and fun, and love it. But yeah, that's there you go. I'm Jay. We're reaching the end of the stream, but glad you could join us. Yes, Ace of Spades. Cheers. Bad design choice for heat dissipation. Guarantee they'll start crapping out in a couple years. Well, I don't know that they will. They probably accounted for it because this is an old amp, and this amp is probably 5-6 years old now. But it's good. But I still think that the 23R, the Enlium, brings something extra to the table. I'll die on that hill because I've A/B'd them extensively. And I think that it's the capacitors inside the 23R that's making the difference. I think they have big old capacitors, and that's a lot of energy storage when the headphone demands it to be released, and it makes the Enlium have more life in the bass, especially. Make it easy because of my humility and humor. Yes, I'm not afraid to be an idiot. I really am not afraid to be an idiot. I'm not afraid to be wrong. I'm more than willing to go, got that wrong. Yeah, I've said something that this is what I thought it was, and then somebody showed me it was something else, and I'm like, yeah, it was something else. Oh, well. Because people think they need to be perfect, and nobody needs to be perfect. You just need to be yourself. And be who you are, and let's just enjoy each other, and call me out on shit. I don't mind being wrong. I've never been afraid. It's just that I tell you the world as I understand it, and if it's not correct, tell me about it. And we'll, you know, I'll gladly, all I need is like just basic whatever. Love stinky cheese too. It's an acquired taste. So fun. Jarek, I use a Topping L70 that he runs on high gain. It doesn't seem to make that much of a difference. And it depends on the headphones you're running through it, because if you're running headphones that are very sensitive, if you put a Susvara on something like that, you probably would hear it. So I don't know. And some people just, it doesn't bother, I guess. But to me, it's like I can hear gain. I can hear grain right away. I've had tubes that were super grainy, and it's like I can just, maybe it's just something that I'm sensitive to. I don't know. But there you go. Hope you at least got some free golf lessons. What were we talking about? What did I miss? Something? What did I miss? That old Director's Garage set was cool. It was tighter. I've got a lot more room here to spread out. That's for sure. One of the things that I did like about it was that I built it into a corner, and that generally, it visually is a better plan than going to a flat wall. And it's something that I do as a director, as I try to build into corners. I just don't have a good corner to build into. And this set here works really well for what I do. I've got a lot of open space here to work on stuff. And I don't, I'm somebody who does, like, I do soldering projects all the time. I do little projects, like I take apart watches that aren't working, and I'm trying to find parts for the watches that aren't working. I have a love of watches, as you guys know. My timepieces, I've a lot of Apple watches and bands and manual watches and all that. I'm a watch aficionado with I only have one nice watch in my collection, but it's you know, it's a guy thing, I guess. I don't know. But so I'm always needing counter space to work on stuff. In fact, this is the watch kit that disassembles a watch, in case you were wondering. I have a ton of interests and a ton of hobbies, and I'm always tinkering with stuff or working on stuff, or my wife brings me a cable that the cat chewed up, and I've got to have a place. I have to have a nice open space that I can, first of all, you know, like when I'm showing unboxing stuff, I need an open space, you know, lots of space to show stuff off and hold stuff up. And now I've got a lot of junk on the desk right now because I've got a couple of different little projects going, but generally I need some open room. And this setup, this is basically 2 editing desks, because I've come from the editing world. When I was designing this room, I thought editing consoles would be perfect because most of them come with a monitor bridge, which means there's 2 levels. And back here there are 2 levels. There's a base desk down low, which is where I have all the common stuff I use. And then there's a back shelf that's elevated that I can fit some other things on. And it actually stages it nicely for a camera situation. It's not lit perfectly, but it's pretty good. And yeah, so that's how I designed the room, the new room. I bought these 2 editing desks, so they're actually I'm in the middle of them, and I can work turned around facing the back wall, or I can work this way, which is where the camera is. So they're kind of make a nice little workspace for me, and that's what I need. You know, just fits. And the interesting thing is that I've got 2 34-inch monitors. You can't see them, but they're here and here. And when I'm not shooting or I'm live on the air, these 2 monitors actually swing together and they form one big panel. So I have 2 screens to cut on for editing the show. But I have them set up so that I can split them apart and have the camera here when I'm shooting. I try to purpose the room as best I can for my needs. It's not terribly attractive, but it suits my needs. There you go. That's kind of the nickel tour without pulling the camera out and making all that stuff go. Last couple guys, then we're going to go. It's 5 o'clock. I got to go see the wife before she runs off to class and eat some dinner. And my voice is going. God, I'm getting dry. Right on. Enjoy your music, don't examine it. Ginger Hermit. Cheers, brother. Haven't seen you in a few. He's married. Neil Snyder says he's married 62 years. Holy God, Neil. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. Oh my God, that's amazing. Being wrong is a daily occurrence. Yeah, and I'm just not afraid to be wrong. I'll never be afraid to be wrong. Jarek says, don't feel bad. He didn't like his closest best friend of 15 years at first either. Now he kind of likes the guy. He's your best closest friend, I hope. No name drops, please. Chance, he collects watches. He has over 300 watches. Good God, Chance. I don't have that many. I only have like 5 or 6, but I'm starting to rotate. See, I decided that I wanted to get away from the Apple Watch for a little bit because I was just getting tired of wearing it every day. So I went back to my collection and started revitalizing. I have a lot of fake watches. My watch collection. There's a lot of fake Breitlings. There's a couple of fake Rolexes. This is like a knockoff Rolex, and this one at least isn't like a total fake. It's just it's an homage watch, but it's an homage to the GMT Master 2, the Pepsi version, which I just love. It's my favorite watch on the planet. If I could own one watch, that would be the one. And I do have one Rolex that I bought years and years ago when a girlfriend dumped me. This is back in the 90s. I had been saving for us to go on vacation somewhere, and then she dumped me. And I had this money, and I'm like, F it, I'm going to buy a watch. And I went down. I was living downtown, and I walked right downtown to I was on Randolph, and I walked right down to Jewelers Row. I walked up into a thing, and I bought myself a Rolex. Not my favorite watch on the planet, but it was like a revenge watch. So fun. New Critical 2 Dusk. I am being run through the hype mill today. Haven't seen the hype mill. I've heard that hasn't that been coming for a long time. The other one I've been waiting on, guys, is the 7 Hertz Timeless 2. They announced that watch like back in October, or that watch. Here, look at me. Watch is on the brain. They announced that IEM back in October. And where is it? It's vaporware. I've ordered it. I've had it on order, which I usually don't tell you guys when I've had something on order, but I put it on order when it first became available from Linsol, which I have an affiliate link to somewhere. You can get some. You don't get a discount, but you give the director some love. It's too fun. But yeah, I've been waiting for that Timeless 2 to come out for a long time. I have the Timeless AE, I have the Timeless 1. I just wanted the 7 Hertz Timeless 2. I've ordered it. It's just been vaporware. So I don't know. They must be having a production problem with the drive or something. But it's been delayed. And Chronicles, that Dusk 2 was announced forever ago. So it's surprising that it's just coming out now. But whatever. I like the Dusk 1. I like the Chronicle. It was good. It's a good headphone. Enjoyed it. I think it's been passed a little bit, but maybe the Dusk 2 will will be all the things. I hope it is. So let's see. Last couple, then we're going to go home. I'm going to start the good Bob music. He wants the Bond watch from the GoldenEye, the Omega. Yeah, that's a cool watch. Like that. That's about $8,000, I believe. The cost, it's one HM1 in price. The watch that I want, the GMT, if you buy it new, and you can get it from Rolex, you can't just walk into a Rolex dealer and buy it. There's about a 2 to 3 year wait on the real Rolex version of this watch. It's 10 grand, and if you buy it on the used market, they range from 50,000 to 40,000, depending on the used. There's a real problem they're having with Rolex right now is people are putting an order in for these. The second they get them, they walk them down to the corner and sell them for double the price. Because that's how in demand the Pepsi version of the GMT Master 2. This is, somebody asked, what am I wearing now? This is a Kronos, Kronos, knockoff. I don't have the overhead camera on, of the Pepsi GMT. And I got it because I thought the movement was there's a lot of knockoffs of the Pepsi GMT, and I got it from AliExpress, and basically it's like a couple $100. It's like $200, $220 for the watch, but it's the best of the knockoffs. I did a lot of looking before I bought. I did a lot of which one do I, because I wanted to get a knockoff of it, in part because if I decide to buy one of those watches one day, I want to be familiar with it, and buying the cheap model, I can get used to wearing it and see if I actually like it. Do I find myself gravitating to it as much as I lust watching videos of it and researching it? So far, the answer is yes. I can't take this thing off my wrist. I really like it, and I wish it were the real thing, but it's not. But this is the Kronos knockoff, and there are companies that actually make a Rolex fake of it. this is just an homage watch, but it's from Kronos, C-R-O-N-O-S, and you can get them from AliExpress. Their version of it, and I got the dark dial, which mimics the most recent Rolex bezel. You can get the bright version of it, which kind of looks more like the early teens version of this watch. The dark version of the dial is more like the ceramic, the new ceramic. Anyway, there you go. That's that. You can talk about this all day. This is a bad thing for YouTube. I'm going to be talking about. Oh, I got Marco B. free golf carts from the guy who taught how to edit. No, I gave him a living, and that's it. I never played golf. I still don't play golf. I suck at golf. I will never be a good golfer. Okay, guys. I'm gonna. He has the same Kronos, Charlie. Yeah, that's cool, man. Charlie, welcome to the show. Cheers. Thank you for not doing a cheesy April Fool's video like many YouTubers. The April Fool's is that you turned up at all, JTB. Joke's on you! All right, everybody, I'm going to say good night, and we're going to start the goodbye music. Hit the like button. If you haven't hit the like button, I guess try and hit a like button every now and then. I don't know why. I got 4 likes. That's a lot. And tip your waiters or waitresses on the way out the door, and make sure you recycle those bottles. And I'm gonna see you guys. New episode next week for sure, because I'm so far ahead. I don't see anything getting derailed. But anyway, I'll see you guys before you know it. Cheers.